All right, guys? Cozy, creative, fun. We're doing a basket of flowers. Well, a tote bag? I think that counts as a basket. Let's get started on this fun, creative adventure. Wow, sometimes I have a hard time getting all my words to work. Welcome and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are having a good time taking care of yourself. I'm Stephanie. This is Deliberately Creative. We're painting this fun basket of flowers. They're kind of peonies, kind of roses. They're just a beautiful, fun, lovely flower. And I am so excited that people are here. Welcome, welcome. People from all around the world. We've got India and Turkey and the United States. And oh, it's so much fun. I hope that you, if you're new, that you click that subscribe button, share the channel with your friends, and settle in for some fun painting. We're going to jump right into this. I'm going to go to the down camera. There we go. So we've got this lovely basket of flowers here, or handbag of flowers. I went ahead and see, when I was doing it, I was looking at that reference, but then I was, my handle is smaller. My spaces of the ropes are wider. The flowers are different. And it's okay. You can kind of tell that I was looking at that reference, but made it up as I was going along. When I drew this as part of the 14-hour Cozy Creative marathon, there were times in there. This was getting about halfway through the marathon, so sometimes you take shortcuts, and that's okay. All right, welcome. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming in. We're going to go ahead and get started right in on this. I'm looking at this and going, this has sort of a soft, creamy background. I'm probably going to pump up the color of the flowers a little bit. And I'm thinking maybe a softer blue type of background. So I'm using the little fan palette again today, just because it's a fun, easy thing to have right here on the table. Are you channeling your inner Robin Williams there, Miss Amy? Good morning, Vietnam. Yeah. All right. So I want to go in. I'm going to get the background kind of done in as a soft blue. And I am going to work my way kind of up and into the flowers a little bit. I think these flowers are going to be because they have the lines, I can be kind of impressionistic with the way I put my colors down. And you know what? I'm going to get the whole bag wet too, because it's a darker color than the background is going to be. So I'm just going to let it sort of flow into the bag too. Yeah. I miss Robin Williams also. He was so irreverent and had such a spark to him. Okay, I think I've got all of the backgroundy areas wet. I am going to go ahead and I think the sort of ultramarine blue, no, that's a phthalo blue. So that's kind of a phthalo blue. And this one I think is kind of the ultramarine. Nope, that's not an ultramarine blue. I don't know. What blue am I going to go with? This is sort of I need to clean it. They call this one a violet, but this one is probably the closest to an ultramarine blue. There we go. So that's kind of an ultramarine blue. And I'm going to take it in and drop it in around anywhere I see some of that color. I'm going to let it be a little soft and cloudy. This is really very springy, but it would be a lovely Valentine card. or a Mother's Day card, or something that would a card for a friend. I'm going to go ahead and just let that go in. A little bit darker in the top corner. This is the Hanamula mixed media bamboo 265-pound paper. Yeah, this piece of paper has just been sitting on my desk. So it's been getting, sample paintings painted on it and testing paint and starting my pen. I don't throw things away. Maybe I will drop a little bit of that phthalo. Ooh, yeah, a little bit of that phthalo blue in there. It's going to give it kind of a cloudy effect, maybe. Mottled colors, not worrying about them being perfect flat color. This is watercolor, so we're going to let it flow around and do its thing. And I am pulling that color across the bag. It's going to just add texture to the bag as we go along. There we go. This is the number 12 round mimic by Creative Mark. And if you want to paint along with me, I do have on my Teespring the Cozy Creative hand-drawn designs to print and color. And I will drop that link right here. If I can still use it, why would I trash it? Exactly. So https://teespring.com/30-cozy-creative-designs. There we go. And that is the link directly to the Cozy Creative booklet. And this book has all 30 of the designs in it that we are painting this month. I'm really looking forward to that cat. I know Miss Amy is looking forward to the little elephant teapot, since that was her request. We have all kinds of things still coming up. So we're on the basket. Later today, I am going to do a second live stream, and it's going to be this fun townhouse window with sort of a dog cat in the window. The tail is a little long like a cat, but the body feels a little more doggish to me. So it could be whatever critter happens to be in the window. And yeah, in a little bit, I will show you what I came up with for my... Oh, look at the way the colors are blending. Ah, love it. Maybe a little bit more of that phthalo blue right up in there. Watercolor develops, so put the colors down. Let them sort of do their thing. Just add the colors in. Let them do their thing. And yeah, it is kind of a purse bag. Could be a shopping bag, as we are all getting into being more conscious of what's going on in the world around us and how we can make an effect. I'm cleaning up those petals. The cool thing about the bamboo paper that I really love is that it doesn't seem to matter what kind of watercolor or what pigment it is. It lifts off of the water, off this paper. So I'm sort of cleaning up a little bit on the petals, just softening the color out just a little bit, so it's not going to affect my pretty pink flowers. I'm not worried about it being down here in the leaves. Maybe I'll just push it up into the leaf a little bit. So that is really pretty. I think we're going to dry it. Just a soft and gentle background. You notice I changed the color. I'm going to be changing the color of the flowers too. I want them to be a little bit more pinkish, not so peachy. just because that's more in my color family, the way I like them. Hello, Victoria. Welcome. Hi, Shauna. It could be a basket, but this is it. Really, the reference right there. It's a purse. It has a camera strap. There's probably a camera hanging in there. There's a scarf hanging out one edge of it that I didn't draw. Ah, that reminds you of the Full House house. Yeah. So, like I said, if you want to paint along with me, there's still, I mean, this is day 12. We still have 18 more days in the book that have not been painted, or 18 more paintings in the book. And there we go. I'm just pushing the paint or the tape back down. And I want to start working on laying in some color on these flowers. I'm going to be kind of loose with it. We can go in and I'm just going to mix it right on that spot where there was a little ultramarine blue. It's going to pink it or purple it up just a tiny bit. And now I'm going to, before I go too far on those, I'm actually going to get these flowers wet. And you notice I'm getting all of the flowers wet. I'm not worried about the individual petals and stuff right now. We're going to be drying and then starting to refine a little bit. But I want to get some colors dropped on here so that they can start just sort of start giving me an idea of what this flower is going to do. See, just we've got color. Oops, I didn't get that area wet, did I? So, did you see what I did? I just blotted it. Now that paper is wet, I can drop some of that color in, let it bloom around. We're just dropping some colors on. We're letting it sort of be loose. Letting it be loose. These are kind of giant cabbage roses, I think, more than peonies. Although this one in the middle feels more like a peony. The basket or bag right there is peonies. But, you know, sometimes you want a rose. So I'm just dropping some color in. Not even paying attention really where the, except from working kind of in circles, kind of working in around the flower. Maybe drop a little bit more dark, but it's going to blur out. It's going to develop into this. Oh, it's going to develop into a beautiful flower. I can see it. See, and that's the thing, is you can start seeing where the flower is, and you can start refining your petals just a little bit. You don't want to take out all that beautiful blooming, like this one right here, how that the water has sort of come together on both sides and given you that lovely highlight. Let's see. You saw a beautiful picture of the Aurora Borealis that was hot pink. Oh. Oh yeah, opera pink. Beautiful color. This is kind of a magenta pink. It's not really opera. I don't know what color it is. They don't give you the pigment numbers on this palette. It's just a generic student or crafter's palette. Really and truly, these are a crafter type paint palette because they don't give you the names of the colors they're using or the mixes they're using. But it's still a fun palette to play with. I'm going to put a little bit more color right down in here. And I am saying they're like giant cabbage roses. Put a little bit more dark right there. It's going to bleed into the one next to it. I don't care. Because I'm trying to stay kind of loose and not take over all of my little highlights, my pretty highlights that are in there. But I want to push a little bit of some shadow in. I can take water and push that in. I like that. I like that a lot. And I'm going to, boop, look at that. Just pop it. Roses have a certain elegance about them. I love roses. Absolutely. Absolutely. Roses and peonies. You know, peonies have a certain joy to them, certain carefreeness that a rose doesn't have all the time. But cabbage roses tend to be very cottagey, and they really fit into that cozy and carefree thing. Carefree aesthetic. The carefree aesthetic. That's it. That's what I was trying to go for. The cozy and carefree aesthetic. Could see this person could be bringing it home for a cup of tea, putting it into a big white pitcher and having the flowers spilling out over a big white pitcher. The paper is starting to dry a little bit, so I am picking up a little bit drier bits just to push a little bit of shadow in some of those joins. It's still going to blur, and the cool thing is this paper, the bamboo paper, allows you to blend and soften those edges, so it's not going to look so harsh. See that? Boom. Soften those edges. Let's go and zoom in a little bit more. Here, I want to check something. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Some reason answers so it starts flying. I'm not sure what Mary. Oh, Amy. Yeah, hey Mary. Welcome, welcome. Your phone isn't acting nice. I'm sorry. Yeah, technology can be hard sometimes. Technology can, right before the show here, I had to restart my computer and cross my fingers and my toes and my eyes and pray to the technology gremlin to not mess up my live stream with you guys. Sometimes things like that happen, and I did kind of push off restarting the computer until it said it absolutely had to be done. And yeah, it absolutely had to be done. Oh, I like that. Getting some of those darker tones pushed in, like in those little bits, those little spaces where there's those little joins. It's kind of where shadows would be sitting. This is still pink. This is, I have not really, except for that tiny little bit of ultramarine blue that was on the palette where I dropped my pink. I haven't really added anything to this color. It's just variations, thickness, or concentration of pigment. It's just concentration of pigment. And having wet the whole flower down and dropping the color on, kind of going in circles, allowed it to get those highlights. And I mean, gee whiz, I don't want to do too much to these flowers. I think that this is probably a lesson in less is more, but I do want a little bit of some shadows in here. And then I'm going to soften it up just a bit. Let those sort of blur out just a bit. Less is more. Roses are definitely one of those things that if you go too far, they'll look overworked and not fresh. So I'm trying to not overwork. And that is my mantra inside my head is don't overwork the roses. Don't overwork the roses. Because you know me, I will get in there and start putting paint down and things will start getting overworked. They will. Tiny little touches of color right there. A little tiny touch. Not trying to put too much. Trying to not overtake all of my beautiful highlights that ended up on here. See, it needs to be a little bit darker right there because that one is sort of pushed up against that rose. These petals right down in here can use a little bit more darkness. Get that one pushed back just a bit. Oh, we're not painting them red. They're magenta. They're magenta. Magenta is a pink. So these are a soft blushy pink. The color will show differently on different computers and different screens. So, but this is the magenta. And magenta is a pink. There we go. Because in my mind, cabbage roses are giant pink roses. All right, I think that is enough on those. On these two, I'm going to move over and just put a little bit of shadow in a couple spots on this one up here. And this is still just the magenta, very concentrated. Tiny little dark shadows in there. Just putting some detail shadows in now. Roses are one of the fastest flowers that you can put in, or one of the most painstakingly detailed flowers that you can do. So you have choices. You can make it however detailed you want it to be. If I was going super detailed, I would be adding blue into this and getting it getting those shadows even deeper. I would be working my blends even more. This is very loose. Is the United States in lockdown? It's because we have so many states and so many so many things that are not coordinated together. It's interesting the way the United States is handling this, and I am in lockdown. How about that? I have made a self-lockdown. My husband does have to go to work. He works for a school district, so he is in a in that group of kind of necessary workers. But we can travel freely. We're not locked down by the government. So if we wanted to travel, we could. I think that it's, for me, it feels less responsible and less respectful to be traveling while there's so much going on. But everybody, part of the United States, and the reason we are the way we are, I guess, is that a lot of the responsibility is on the individual. So that's where we are. Ooh, Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Let's zoom out and take a look. Let's zoom out. Oh my goodness. So when you zoom out on it, see, I'm zooming way, way out. And what that's doing is that's telling me I need a little bit of a shadow right in here and a little bit of a shadow back here at the back of that petal that's right on top, and a touch of a shadow right in here. A couple spots. So stepping away from your artwork, take a look at it, see what you see. Maybe a touch of a shadow right under that little edge so that this petal separates a little bit. But not too much, not too much. I don't need to do very many things. Vaccinations have started in the United States. It's moving kind of slowly. We're hoping that in the next few weeks things are going to start moving a little more quickly. So a little bit of shadow right back here under that curled bit of petal. A little bit of shadow. And this is still the same, that same color. Right in there. I'm going to soften it up because I don't want it to be quite so strong. See, just soften it, give it a little dab. Right in here, I see a spot where I want a little bit of shadow. A little bit more underneath. The shadows on the flower will be the same color as the petals, just a deeper tone. Or it could be going more blue or more yellow, just depending on what kind of light you have. That is really good. Thank you for sharing that information, Bikram Mandal, that India has, their COVID cases have decreased a lot in the past 3 months. I think the level of personal responsibility is greater in India. I'm going to rotate this so that I can get a little bit of dark up underneath of here. Right there. I don't want to touch that pretty highlight that I have, but I do want to get a little bit darker shadows in here and not put my hand in the paint that's on my board. If you're interested, this board is a piece of Coroplast, C-O-R-O-P-L-A-S-T. It is a corrugated plastic polypropylene signboard material, and you can find it on Amazon in my link down below in the more information. You can find it at big box craft stores and hardware stores. Craft stores in the area where the foam board and big papers are, the big sheets of paper. You will find it in that area, and you will find it in the garage yard sale area of many of the big hardware stores. And it might not be in as huge of sheets either. So you might find better, more easily handleable sheets. Boy, that's a hard word sometimes. Yep, the UK is struggling. Well, thank you, Bikram. You know, I try to answer questions, you know, no matter. Sometimes we don't get information from the news, right? Sometimes we get information on an art channel. And I always try to share factual information, and I try not to go into politics. Just because I'm not a political channel, but, you know, certain things in the world do require a bit of a response. And if every person in the world took personal responsibility for how they are behaving, a lot of things in the world would not be happening. Okay, so that looks good. I need to soften that. Just a little touch. Ruchita, welcome. Welcome. And thank you so much, Amy, for being my welcome party today. I appreciate that. I only see about a third of the chat as it goes by because I start focusing on the painting. I want to soften out a couple of those little shadows. See? And this is basically just a wet brush, not filled with paint anymore. It's just whatever pigment I'm picking up off the paper. There we are. So we have a lovely, lovely painting of those big giant cabbagey roses. Now I'm going to dry this and we're going to put the leaves in. Oh no, actually I'm going to dry this. We're going to put the bag in and the leaves are going to be the last thing along with the handle. So we're going to dry this real quick. If you're new here, make sure and click that subscribe button. If you like what you see, if you're enjoying the painting and the banter, I appreciate you being here. Click that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. We still have 18 more paintings this month out of the Cozy and Creative Hand-Drawn Designs. I will flip to the page where this is, so we can kind of see this is where we started and this is where we are. I'm just drying this out just a little bit so that I don't have my leaves and things like that bleeding up in. Hello, Debbie, welcome. And Lorianne and Shauna and Amy, Ruchita and Bikram. Yeah, we've got all kinds of fun people in here. Thank you for being here. So while that's just sort of sitting for a second, I want to show you, I just finished on Teespring. So if you click the link that's at the top, that will take you, of the chat, that will take you to this book. Once you're there, you can also look at my new mini Valentine book that I made. It's Creative Hearts Full of Flowers with All My Love. And it has 6 little flower hearts for you to color. You can also you can print them out on watercolor paper. So you print out the whole sheet, or the cover. The cover has a painted one on the cover, just like that. It's the painted one. So you get one that's painted, and then you have, well, here. Why don't I do it this way? You can fold this, if you do it on text weight paper, you can fold it into a book. It comes with these 2 pages, like that. So you have 6 of these pretty hearts. This one is a duplicate, so this one is that one right there. And when you fold it, you can stack the pages together and you have a little booklet. And if you do it this way, the little booklet can actually just be popped into an envelope and mailed. And you can send someone a lovely coloring book, and it doesn't cost hardly anything. You can make as many copies of it as you wish for personal use, to give as gifts or to mail out to friends. But you can also print it out on watercolor paper and then cut them out and paint them. So these were from a printout on watercolor paper. Isn't that cool? I am so excited by this. I hope you guys are too. This is the Creative Hearts Full of Flowers on Teespring. So it's a Valentine. You can, but you can also use them for Mother's Day, for friends. It's a lot of fun. And I am going to do a marathon this coming Saturday. It hasn't even been scheduled yet. And I'm going to show you how to draw all of these in a marathon. So you'll be able to draw this. You don't have to buy the book. You'll be able to draw all of these hearts and flowers and butterflies and fun. And we will take a break and come back with a second marathon video on Saturday where we paint all of the flowers. And these were just painted with watercolor. So they're going to be fairly quick to paint, not too long. And I'm really, really happy about that. I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much for being here. Those prints are so pretty. Yeah. And people can make their own. You're not going to be limited to just what I do. You can make it your own. I am going to go ahead and start putting in the kind of gray and dark gray. It's actually going to go to the sort of that Prussian blue. The Prussian blue right here. Just like that. And then, I'm just getting a nice puddle of it on here so I can go and do the bag. I'm also going to take a bit of burnt umber and that blue, and it's on top of the pink because I'm mixing a little bit of that pink into it. It's making it a little bit of a dark, dark purple. That might even be my darkest shadow. So I think I'm going to go in and get the bag wet. Yeah, Saturday's going to be a fun day. Saturday's going to be a fun day. I know I said, oh, I'm going to be taking a break and I'm not going to do a video on Saturday. But you know what? Sometimes you make a plan and then plans change. Plans change. I'm just actually going to get this all wet. Get it all wet. I'm not worried about the colors. I'm not worried about highlight and shadow so much. You were trying to create a live YouTube, but you don't have a phone. So if you have a YouTube channel and you have verified your YouTube channel, then there is a place in your YouTube settings that you go in and you have to tell it that you want to be able to do live streams. And you have to set it up on the computer first before you try and set it up on your phone. Kind of the way that works. I'm going to go in and just start dropping some of this darker tone in. This bag is a cloth bag. It is a rope type bag. So it has a lot of fibers and kind of detail, but it's loose. So first off, we're just going to get some of these darker tones in. Yeah, so if you're excited about that book, the flower heart book, if you check my video from yesterday, and that is the crazy quilt video, and you watch it, you'll see how you can enter to get your own copy for free. I am giving away 3 copies of the Valentine book. So there's, there is a way to get it for free. It's only $4.50 on Teespring, so it's not a very expensive book to get at all. And then you have the right to be able to print out as many copies for personal use as you wish. You cannot resell the book in any form. Just the same as all of my books. You can't resell my books in any form. And that just you know, since it is something that is my part of my livelihood, I'm doing it so that I can earn a few dollars each month. Look at that. See how we put that first color down, and now we've worked this darker tone over it. And I'm kind of working those darker tones around where those stripes are. Just like this. So that way they kind of bleed in a little bit. So I'm just sort of softening it up. There's no hard highlights on this because it is cloth, but it does have some deeper shadows. So I'm going to grab some of that burnt umber color again. And let's go ahead and zoom in on that bag more so that you can really see the details. Well, Amy, I'm so glad that you're feeling better now. So there is right like that. I'm just putting some darker that I mixed some of the burnt umber or sienna sepia tone into my Prussian blue to get more of a dark shadowy tone. I'm just looking at it going, where are the shadows? Where would the shadows be? And kind of putting them in. It is a cloth bag, so it is sort of pushing down a little bit. It's got a little bit of some so there. And I'm going to soften it out again with a little bit of water. So don't worry if you're looking a little bit extra stripy, unless that's what you wanted, you know? If you want it to be extra stripy, you could just do this in stripes. I love the cottage core aesthetic, and I kind of have that in my life. You know, I live in a little house. Way before little houses were popular. This little house was built in 1942. It's only 700 square feet. So, let's see. Yeah, it's not very many square meters. I'm not sure. Because we don't run in metric here, my brain is not dividing very well. Let's see. 3 goes into 7 twice and leaves 1. So about 23 square meters. About. So it's a little house. It's not huge. And because of that, but it does have a nice sunny kitchen, and it's an eat-in kitchen. So, you know, we've got the kitchen table in the middle. It's sort of a mini farmhouse table because, you know, it's a little pine table. It's actually an IKEA tabletop that I put onto a one end. I put onto a dresser, one of the little IKEA dressers. And then the other end has just a single leg. So it's like a little peninsula. Oh, I like the tones that are happening here. So, there. And you know what? You don't have to do as much as I do, and you can do more than I do. That's the cool thing here, is that you can make this all into something that is your own. I think I'm going to darken up that edge right there just a little. A little bit darker on this edge here. There we go. Kind of carry that across just a little. And my paint has seeped underneath, so I will need to clean up my edges in the margin. The bright white margin isn't going to be as bright and white, because as soon as I use the blow dryer on this and dry things, it pops the tape up. And if I don't go back along and squish the tape down, and remember to squish the tape down, the paint slips underneath. Hello, Kristen. Welcome, welcome. All right, softening those colors up just a bit. Letting it just blur and blend. And I think we are going to dry it again. Dry the bag, and then we're going to go on to the leaves. Your sister Coyle loves art and is learning soft pastel and poster art. So, Bikram, was your sister in the live stream yesterday? I think that we had a Coyle in the live stream yesterday. She's a younger gal in 13, 14, if that's the same person. All right, 13, 14 years old. Let's zoom out and take a quick look. Oh, isn't that looking pretty? So now we're going to go in. I'm actually going to take a yellow on these leaves first, and then start working towards the darker colors, towards the darker greens and some blue. Just because I want to be able to have some fresh lightness to it. Ah, excellent, Bikram. That's wonderful to hear. So glad that you and your sister both like the channel. Please make sure and share the channel with your friends. And guys, if you like this painting and you like these videos, make sure that you are clicking that like button. When you click the like button, it goes into a personal playlist that you have. So if you ever want to go and find the video again, you can go to your liked videos, and it will be in your liked videos. If you can also go to your history if you maintain your video history, and you can find it in your video history. Say you start watching a video and then you have to go away for some reason. When you come back, you can go to your history and start right back up on the video. And if you have my channel in your subscriptions, you can always go in and click on my channel from your subscriptions. All right, I am just softening that yellow out. Yes, there's a little bit of the background that's come in on those leaves. That's okay. This is kind of a primrose yellow, kind of a bright yellow. But because a little bit of the background has come in on it, on the edge here, it's already starting to get some detail. So cool. Just pulling some of that background color right up in. Not worried about making it perfect. Having fun, letting these things sort of blend. All right. I think those leaves that are up on top, and those leaves are not in the reference, I just made them. I'm going to say that they are probably brighter, lighter. I'm going to take a little bit of a different yellow out here on the tips. I'm going to say they're getting kissed by a little bit more light. And now the leaves are a bit wet. I want them to be wet. So I'm actually going to go in and get them wet and drop. I think I'm just going to grab some of that. Let's see, let's look for a clean spot. Let's see what that kind of ultramarine blue does with this yellow. Ooh, that makes a pretty green. And I'm going to just start dropping some colors in. I'm going to take a little bit of that Prussian blue and drop it in. It's going to make it a much darker green. I'm going to let it blur. Sort of putting it right up against the edge of the petal so that it looks like there's a little bit of a shadow on it. Just grabbing different greens. Let's see. You are thank you, Bikram, for being a subscriber. I appreciate that. And for those of you who just came in, who have been like hanging out in the shadows and you just stepped into the live stream, welcome. I am so glad you're here. I am playing with different. This is a fan palette of paints, and I'm kind of going to that Prussian blue and a little bit of this yellow. Yeah, I'm making a mess right on my palette, aren't I? It's okay. I'm going to put some dark right up under there, and then I'm going to get it wet because I just realized that I put it on without getting this wet. But I'm using this dark kind of to make some veins and the shadow. More veins actually are showing up on the light side. Softening it out, not keeping it perfect. Want to keep it kind of loose and fun. Put a few little veins in here. I don't want this to be too detailed. I want it to actually just sort of flow on this one. I don't want to take out all of my highlight. That yellow is my highlight. You see how that just glows right in there? You don't have to. Ooh, that's a really dark one. I think I'm going to take that on some dry leaves back here. And underneath. And then take some water. And move it around. Not too detailed. Really, your details are going to be in the ones that are in the front. These ones right here will be your most detailed leaves. Once you start working your way around towards the back, it's mostly just color. A little bit darker right up under that. Space right there. I am trying not to work the paper too much. I'm mostly dabbing. Let's see if we can go to that side view and I can show you what I'm doing with my brush. So with the brush, I am dabbing the color on. See, it's kind of just barely touching. I'm not flattening the brush out. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just barely touching. And I'm dragging the color that's already there around. I'm not really adding more color. Dove chocolates have some great messages. Sometimes they have very appropriate messages to a situation. or a time. And sometimes they can be a little irreverent. See, this one, I'm trying to maintain some of that light. I want to give it a little bit of some texture detail. And part of knowing where the light hits is looking at things. So look at roses. Go to the garden center if you have one, and look at the flowers when they are in season. Look at the flowers, look at their leaves, look at the way light hits, especially if you've got an outdoor garden center, because they really, I mean, that's a free place that you can go. You can take pictures of the plants in a garden center. Sometimes they have plants that are much more exotic than you would find necessarily in a random backyard or front yard. Take your phone, take pictures while you're out. Oh, look at that. You know, so many people think, oh, well, I can't take reference photos. I don't go anywhere. And truthfully, you can reference photos in your neighborhood, reference photos, of little houses. I'm going to be doing a series of little houses probably in March. We're going to do a marathon of drawing little houses and then putting them together in a little book, and then doing the painting of the little houses. So I have a ton of references just from my neighborhood that I can use. I took the pictures, I can use them. And yes, you can take pictures of people's houses. Now, try to be respectful, don't walk onto their property. But in the United States, you can take pictures of people's houses from the street, and that's public information, public, they can't stop you from taking a picture of their house. I'm just putting some details in on this leaf and this one. Just because these are, closer to the front. And the more dark details I put on, the more the light that's on here will shine. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is looking so pretty. I want a little bit more dark. Let's go ahead and go back to the top down so you can see it even better. This leaf back here needs to be darker. I'm just making it more of that Prussian blue with just a little bit of the yellow in it. Really dark. Maybe just a tiny little spark of yellow showing here and there. That yellowy green. This one's really dark. Tiny little spark here and there, just so you know it's a leaf. Aren't those pretty? A little bit darker right up underneath of that. I'm going to make it much darker. Taking some of that sepia brown and mixing it with my Prussian blue, making almost a black. I want to make that much darker on top of the wet paint, so it is going to bleed and soften as a shadow. And by getting those shadows worked up underneath of your petals, it makes it feel like the flowers are are actually over those leaves. Pretty, pretty, pretty. So Bikram, yeah, I don't give out my personal address. If you want to send a letter or something like that, I do have a mailbox that is, the address is listed down below in all of my videos. So, and if you follow me on social media, there are, you can message on social media. But yeah, personal information, you need to be careful in this day and age, you know? All right. Darker right there. I was looking at it going, where is that other dark spot that I was trying to think about? Because this is coming out from underneath of the flower. Have you ever noticed that leaves actually look a lot like trees? I know that sounds weird, but the way a leaf grows is actually a lot like the way trees grow. Where it's got the stem and then it has the veins going off, which are like the branches. And they tend to be thicker towards the base and they get thinner as they go away from the center core of the leaf. Kashiki, it's 2 a.m. in India. Oh my goodness. Always thankful for chocolate. Yes, always thankful for chocolate. I think I'm going to just take some of that dark Prussian blue, put a little bit darker right here under the handle. I see some, few little spaces where I want a little bit more dark shadow. So yes, I do drill in sometimes and get too much into the details. So what I'm going to do here is soften this out so it doesn't look too added on. Just sort of soften those shadows out. Because I don't want it to look like I just, painted those lines in really hard. I like the sort of a few of those little separation bumps, but then I have to soften it out. You can go back in. See, you can go back in and put detail. You can still soften your colors. This paper is amazing for softening up your colors. After they're dry, you can still blend the watercolor really well. Awesome. Yeah, I love our community. I love how thoughtful and caring the whole community is, because we are our own little village in the world of crazy villages. We're our own little village of fun and creativity. Okay, I want to get this one darker right down here at the bottom. And then I'll get it wet. But I'm just putting those colors on just to bump up a little bit of the contrast and not... Actually, maybe I'll do that. I just took a little bit of that magenta, threw it down here onto made like a little tabletop that this is sitting on now. So it feels like it's actually sitting someplace and not just floating in space. I want just a tiny bit of a darker spot of blue up here behind that petal. We're going to do the handle after I dry the leaves. Nope. Amy, you are the official welcoming team. You are a whole team of welcome. We don't have any village idiots. We have people who are willing to be fun and carefree. So there. I am just drying this off so I can do the handle. And the handle is kind of a creamy brown. I think I might bring it into a little bit of a darker brown. Aw. Thank you, Bikram. I try. I try to be, I try to have a kindness that's just, just the way I am. It's just, I don't try to put on, or what you guys see here is really who I am in real life. You can ask Mark, my husband, if I don't try and put on a persona when I'm here on YouTube, because I'm not an actress. Although I did do theater in high school, I'm not an actress. The court jester. Oh, you would be as awesome as Danny Kaye. Absolutely. The vessel with the pestle has the brew that is true. The pellet with the poisons in the flagon with the dragon. How about that, Amy? I actually have something. And I loved Angela Lansbury as the conniving princess in that. I am taking I just sort of made a brown, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to dab it off after I get sort of around the edge. I am going to dab this a little bit off with kitchen towel paper, so that we can have some variations in tone. That's why you're in love with this channel? Aww. So, for my friends here that are from India, do you guys have you checked out Tangi? The Tangi app? I do a whole bunch of my videos as 1-minute speed videos also on the Tangi app. And I know that it's becoming more known in India. And there's lots of lettering channels, and let's zoom in on that handle. Let's work on that handle zoomed in a little bit. So there's lots of You love that movie. You love The Court Jester. I love anything with Danny Kaye in it, basically. And yes, I do watch White Christmas other times besides the Christmas season. Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye, two of my favorite actors. But I actually like Danny Kaye better than Bing Crosby. Gasp, I know. Rosemary Clooney in that was absolutely beautiful. Rosemary Clooney, George Clooney's aunt. Very talented family. And I'm just putting some shadows in and leaving some highlights. I think that my little cross ties right here, the little straps that are stitching that handle on, are going to be much darker. What are my views on India? Oh my. India is a country of many cultures that have come together and that are, oh gosh, it's beautiful. There's many cultures. There are, just like any country, there's things that can be improved. I don't have enough knowledge on that. I'm just saying that, just like any country, I'm sure there are things that can be improved. There's things, India actually has a very highly educated population, but education, I think, needs to be, as with all countries, needs to be a focus. Having worked in education for, almost 24 years, I have a strong feeling about education. But more so, I look at India, as a tourist because I have never lived there. And the amazing art and history of the country, I think, is so wide and varied. So that's kind of my feeling on India. It's beautiful. It's big. And there's lots of variation and lots of people. So how's that? And I love that on the internet and on YouTube, especially on these live streams, I get to meet people from all around the world. And it doesn't matter what our backgrounds are. We are friendly and kind to everyone. Because that's how I like to live my life. I like to be friendly and kind. I'm just putting some little detail-y bits in on these handles, starting to put a little bit of shadow around the little stitch work and giving it a little bit more contrast on the underside. I'm just picking up a dark brown. This is sort of just the sepia brown without any blue in it. So I'm not making it into a chromatic black. Yes, as much as he was an excellent singer and actor, I have a hard time with Bing Crosby because he was so cocky. Yes, that is it exactly. He knew too well that he was really good. How about that? And people who they know that they're really good. Now he's originally from Washington State, from Eastern Washington, is where Bing Crosby was originally. Excuse me. Pardon me. The sneeze just sort of snuck up on me. All right. So I am going to dry this really quick because I want to make those little cross straps. Yeah, we bought White Christmas to have on our Amazon Prime. So anytime I'm in the mood or need, I bounce between the Jim Carrey Grinch and the Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye White Christmas. So, yeah. What can I say? It's all part of my worldview and aesthetic, I think. I have to have sweet, calm, joyful, silly, fun, all of those things in my life. I'm going to take that dark right around the bottom edge and put a little bit of it right in here. Boom. See, I didn't color that in completely. I'm going along and I'm leaving a little bit of the top edge of that strapping, and that just gives it a little bit more of a feel that it is a rounded piece of cord or leather. And then I'm going around the bottom, putting a little bit of that shadow deeper right in here. I'm going to put a little bit of that up under the handle, just because. All right, I think I need to soften that just a smidge. Smidge? Wow, that's an interesting word, a smidge and a bit. And then I'm going to take my dry towel, I'm going to dab, boom. And that softened that highlight so it's not quite so sharp. There we go. Soften, soften. All right. We are going to pull the tape off of this. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is an artist, and he has some strong views that are that he shares in his artwork. So not all of it is, perfect for work environment, I think. But look at that. All right, now we're going to pull the tape off. And because I've gotten it wet, or not gotten it wet, gotten it hot, the tape is pretty much lifted off the paper already. Stuck down to the plastic pretty well. Getting that lovely oh my goodness, guys, what do you think? Do you like this? Are you going to try it? Remember that it is in the Cozy Creative Hand-Drawn Designs from the marathon that we did. And there we are, side by side. This is where we started. This is where we ended up. I'm pretty excited by that. I hope that you click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends. Make sure that you are doing something creative, taking care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I want to see you back here again, 4 p.m. today, for the fun townhouse window with the cat dog. That's what we're doing at 4 p.m. this afternoon. So check back, have fun, go out and do something creative, and I'll see you soon.